Admissions in higher ed is stuck. Outdated tools and rigid processes slow institutions down, making it harder to truly connect with today's students. But Brittany at the College of Albemarle shows there's a better way.
At College of the Albemarle, we're always looking for new ways to better serve our students. Let's face it, though, life doesn't always fit into a 9-to-5 schedule. That's why we've been so excited about the AI tools we get to use through our CRM, Element 451. This makes connecting to COA easier than ever. We're working on Bolt AI Assistance, Bolt Discovery, and these are tools designed to give students access to COA resources and information anytime, day or night. Got a question about admissions? Need help exploring programs? Looking for resources? These tools are like having COA staff at your fingertips, ready to help whenever it's convenient for you.
Your prospective students get the information they need when they need it, and your team saves time. Visit element451.com to see how AI can help you simplify your admissions process to stay focused on what really matters, your students. Welcome to Talking Tactics, a show about results. I'm Day Kibbilds, Vice President of Strategy at Ology, author of Mailed It, and international speaker on stage and on screen. Every other week, I share the cleverest ideas from folks in higher ed actually doing the work. Each episode of Talking Tactics breaks down a single tactic that got real results. The best part? The tactic had to be done with limited resources, so everything you hear is something you can try yourself, no matter how small your team or tight your budget. Ready to see what's working? Let's go. Hi, friends. Day here, your host. I have a special episode for you today. I'm going back in the Talking Tactics archives and creating a compilation of summer tactics for you, so you can lower your melt, turn deposits into registrations, and even win back some of your withdrawals. Let's dive in. The first tactic is from episode 4, Preventing Summer Melt with Focused Post-Deposit Emails, with Darcy Porter at SUNY Brockport. Darcy's tactic resulted in emails with 90% open rates and a point-in-time comparison of registrations from 50 the previous year to 400. That's 8 times higher. Let's hear from Darcy.
We had a very aggressive target that we were trying to hit for this recruitment cycle. And then we also were going off of events that had occurred, last summer, where we saw a really extreme amount of summer melt for us. So don't know if that was, a result maybe of still those COVID feelings and students having a lot more anxiety. We don't know what that was, but our post-deposit thoughts were that if we could try to capture more of their allegiance to the brand and feeling a better sense of identity as Brockport students earlier on in the cycle, that we could help alleviate some of that summer melt. So those were two of the problems, the emails themselves, and then wanting to hit those numbers and prevent summer melt.
Yeah, summer melt is like that scary thing. Like you think you're done, but nope, there's the whole summer.
You're very much not done.
You're not done. I like to equate it to, this is silly, but like depositing is like saying yes to an engagement, but you still have to plan the wedding and show up,
Absolutely. That's such a good analogy.
So, okay, I want to talk specifically about what changed in the emails then. So, you're working together, you're figuring it out, you're trying. What did you get? What did you change?
Sure. So this piece of it is where I feel like I will thrive on this podcast, because your whole mission is to talk about like low resourced ways to make an impact. Yes. And that really comes into play here at this step. So the doors are open. We have this partnership established. We're going to help them with their emails. And low resourced is everything SUNY Brockport is about. We're a state institution in an enrollment crisis, so we really didn't have a ton of resources to work with. But we did have a few things in our pockets that helped here. We have a really great new leadership team that really trusts in us to do this kind of work and helped us establish that new budding relationship between marketing and admissions. We also have some young ones that we added to our team that really understood like the strategy behind the content and talking to the audience, this Gen Z audience, the way that we need to be talking to them to help with engagement and retention. But the biggest thing that helped us with crafting these emails, we realized we didn't have to build everything inside the tool, the CRM tool that we were using, which was Slate. We kind of had that light bulb moment where we were like, why don't we use a different program to design the emails themselves and then extract that and help that populate Slate for the design. So we started working in a platform called Klaviyo, which was free. Anyone can use it. So we used that platform to build out the actual body of the emails. We were able to incorporate really engaging design elements, but also engaging content pieces like video, vertical, like photo and video embeds. So way more engaging than just words on a page, as you know. And when we were able to design in Klaviyo and bring it over to Slate, that's really where we saw like the magic come alive.
Wow. Okay. So no design skills needed, I guess.
Yeah, it was one of those beautiful programs where it's just like the drag and drop.
You're like, why? Yeah. Why are you magic? And where have you been all my life?
Right. Yeah. Why has this been so hard for so long?
So in terms of content, did you change anything about the topics that you were sending emails about? Did you change anything about how they were written in terms of like tone and personality?
Yeah. So admissions had never worked with us prior to when they were crafting their emails. So when looking at them for the first time, we did realize how long-winded they were. They were huge blocks of text. The voice was a little bit more formal. So those were all opportunities that we saw to infuse some more content strategy into the writing for the emails. So vertical testimonials from current students saying how much they loved Brockport, we would embed those, or instead of saying come schedule a tour to come see our residence halls, like embedding a video of our residence hall tours in there. So there were a lot of different elements that we were able to add by using the Klaviyo designs fused with, this content strategy that I was able to improve upon.
Next, we'll hear from Kristin Miller at Frostburg State University and how she set up financial aid-related texting campaigns to guide families through the unfamiliar and confusing process of understanding their aid package and their first bill. Kristin and her team engaged 73% of deposited students and their parents, resulting in a 7% reduction in summer melt. Here's a snippet from episode 49, Sending Financial Texts to Reduce Summer Melt.
We really needed to address summer melt as an institution. And we, as a team, thought through what the pain points were in the process between being admitted and that opening weekend moment where they're finally here and excited on campus. So obviously, billing and financial aid are huge pain points for a lot of families, especially at Frostburg State. We have a lot of Pell eligible and first-gen students, right? And this is an entirely new language for them. And so we knew that was going to be a stressor. And we wanted to figure out a way to help, right? And then looking at the things that we do really well, I think as an institution is those individual relationships. I know a lot of places do that, but it really is something that you talk to anybody on campus, even the students, right? Like that individual, those one-on-one relationships, that opportunity to engage. And so we wanted to give admitted students an opportunity to just practice that. Hey, this is a thing that you get when you're on campus. And then I also listened to a webinar And it was a higher ed learn things, a webinar, but it was also a dad who was going through this process with his eldest child for the first time on the other end. And he was like, there's a login and a username for everything. And the housing portal has one, and the payment portal has one, and there's an application portal, and they're all different. And it was stressful trying to keep track of all of that.
Oh my God.
Right? And I get it. I also have too many username and passwords. And so we wanted something that would be simple, right? You can just do it on your phone. And that's the texting kind of came in. It was just being able to just one-on-one text someone and get an answer from a human, which is really important to me, is that human connection of communication. And so that's how do we solve this problem with the tools that we already have? We use Mongoose as the texting platform that we already subscribe to. It is very user-friendly, which works well for what we were attempting to do, which was invite non-admission staff to engage with the incoming class. And obviously our admissions counselors and our admissions staff are already versed in this platform. And it was really nice when inviting other people in that the ease of use was absolutely a benefit to the success of the campaign, because there wasn't this really big learning curve of how to engage. But yes, the idea that it was simple. It was simple for the students to just text a number, text our admissions office, and get an answer from an actual person. And it was simple then for the financial aid and billing staff who have never logged in or created a username and password on Mongoose to just jump in and immediately be able to use the tool.
Great. Yeah, I can imagine just the nightmare of cross-campus training. So
yes,
the fact that it's
absolutely. Yes, and it removed that barrier of being like, of wanting then to do it again because it was successful. Yeah. Please come back and do this again. So it was easy to train and do the overview of pre-event prep was fine.
All right. So walk us through how you structured this campaign. I know it sounds easier said than done, but like what's step 1, 2, 3 of setting something up like this?
First of all, I think was on-campus buy-in. Working with the financial aid and billing leadership to make sure that we had employees available. We needed the subject matter experts to be available to ask questions about what buttons do I push and tell me about this scholarship. What does this mean? How do I pay with my 529 plan? We needed those people in place and getting them set up. Finding a date that works not only for the staff, but for the students and families. We really wanted it to be a time and date where families were going to be together. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one whose students put their parents' phone numbers on their applications. And so are we talking to students? Are we talking to parents? Maybe we're talking to both because we texted both. So, there might be situations where both of them are answering us together. And so we wanted them to be together to talk. But getting buy-in and then training, coordinating times to get their logins on the platform together, do a little screen share to make sure that everybody felt comfortable and confident about what was happening. One of the beautiful things I think about Mongoose is that ease of use, but it's one number. So our admissions office has one number and anybody can reply. And to the student, it just looks like they're having a one-on-one conversation with whoever they're talking to. So if I get pulled into a different conversation, somebody else can jump in and answer this student. And the student has no idea that the conversation has changed. It's a seamless experience for them, which I think is really lovely. After we got campus buy-in, it's notification, letting people know that this is going to be something that happens. And it's an email campaign running up to the day of the event. And usually we do get pretty good engagement on those because text a financial aid expert. Every time I put financial aid in a subject line, we usually get pretty good.
That's the hack, everyone. Just put financial aid on all your subject lines.
Don't do that. No. Definitely don't. But it does help, right? Yeah. So when we do have an opportunity to engage about financial aid, students are interested. And so, especially this audience. And so getting them to do that. And then the final piece, and this is something I learned from a previous event, was we really need to send a reminder text message at the start of the event. So previously we tried to do an engage with alumni. So we had a couple of alumni and we were like, we sent all these emails and it was crickets. It was a really low engagement. People just don't remember, right? But sending that one last push right before, hey, we're here now, send your text now, your questions now, really gets people to engage, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a cold text, right? Because ideally they've gotten and engaged with the emails first. So I don't think it would work if it was just one push of an email, because then who is this person? Why are they trying to text me about my financial aid? That seems spammy.
Sus.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that 1-2 together. And that really does increase engagement quite a bit. And so putting that comm plan in place and then making sure everybody's ready the night of, and then it flows.
It just flows. So logistically, is it a couple of hours? How many folks are like logged in and texting at the same time? What can people expect in terms of staffing?
It's a 2-hour event. We call them events. So it's a 2-hour event, usually from 6 to 8 in the evening, right? People have come home from work. We're sitting around. And we staffed it with, I think, 3 to 4 financial aid and billing folks, because we're a smaller campus. And we also had an admissions counselor. So anytime we do an event like this, a texting event with non-admission staff, we always make sure that there's somebody there that answers the random, did you get my transcripts? And
totally.
What's the next application thing that I have to do? And for this audience too, because we have accountants kind of online, is following up with those human touches of, does that answer your question? Is there anything else that I can do for you while we're here? Sort of things, like continuing the conversation. It was the role the admissions counselor played. And I think it went really well. Usually what happens is you get that first hour is a lot busier than the second hour. And then actually something that we needed to do is the next morning is get all of those text messages that came in over the night. Yeah. Our overnight text messages, you get those people who weren't looking at their phone, or they texted me at 10 and nobody's on then. And having somebody to log in the next morning to be like, okay, we just need for a few minutes if you could take care of these last minute pieces.
Did you prepare frequently asked questions or canned responses or anything like that for your texters? Or were you just like really trusting that they were just going to answer with their experience?
We trusted that they would be able to answer with their experience. And I think having the full staff there. So we had financial aid for the scholarships, the FAFSA questions, billing for how do I pay, what are payment options, and then the admission staff there as well. Like having that full component to answer whatever question would have come in, I think would have been, it was the reason that we were able to go without canned responses. I also think the purpose of this event, of really hyper-personalized communication, of let me answer your specific question in this moment, is how conversation works. And so I think having automated, canned, generic responses would not have fit the purpose of what we were trying to accomplish in the same way as just like what happened because of how we set everything up.
The next era of higher ed is here. AI that's both scalable and deeply human. At the 2025 Engage Summit, learn how to use agentic AI to personalize outreach, engage proactively, and free time for what matters most. This Don't Miss event is happening on June 24th and 25th in Charlotte. Enrollify listeners get $50 off with code Enrollify50. Don't wait. Register at engage.element451.com. Continuing with the theme of personal attention, let's shift to a tactic that may just win you back students who have withdrawn. Episode 44 with Whitten at Southern Methodist University features a really fun tactic, creating a simple yet impactful goodbye video and sending it as a GIF in an email. With this tactic, Sean saw about 10% of his withdrawn students come back. Let's hear from him.
A lot of that was trying to better track the students that were withdrawing and students that were honestly at the other side of our process, right? So certainly we have and are empowered in this. We can make a deny decision, but at the same time, a student can deny us. And so I wanted to get a better sense of that, of what's going on at the margins. What is it that is happening beyond just this initial piece? And we wanted to track those students more than just the numbers. So as a territory manager, I was thinking about that in that aspect, and then thinking of it more widely for what it looked like across our admissions funnel.
I love how you say I'm at the margin and what's happening with those students as individuals, because I've looked at many cross-app spreadsheets in my life and where non-enrollers go and all of that. And it's always a table. Like, it's always a table with some numbers, and there's rarely a decision reason other than maybe location or financials, but it doesn't really go any deeper than that. So right off the bat, kudos to you. This is really you living your values. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're trying to find out what happened to them as more than just numbers. So how did you come up with the idea to use a video?
Yeah, so this is where Eric really came into play from our marketing team. Collaborating with him and that team themselves, we were working on utilizing these GIFs previously in email communication. And I thought, oh, why don't we use them beyond that? What are other avenues to do that? And so the idea came from a shared collaboration with Eric and the marketing folks to how can we build in a little bit more empathy in this process, and how much in this opportunity can we have fun? A lot of this becomes, okay, we set and forget, right? Okay, we submitted our withdrawal form for a student or inquiry or things of that nature, applicant, because they've withdrawn, and we forget. We set and forget, and that's it. But I wanted to think about this from an idea, like you said, of the individual person, and kind of share with those students that, yes, you're withdrawing from us now, but what is it about the future that we could still be a part of that? And how can we better serve or want to serve in that capacity? So if something doesn't work out, it's like a relationship that you build, right? Or you've built a relationship with these students and their families, and then you have to say goodbye in these ways. And I think I described it as a breakup, right? Like in the past, you just broke up and everybody ghosted each other. But now it's much more of a, let's not be ghosts or phantoms to one another, but there's this moment in time we shared in which we can also still support each other as we move forward.
I think one of the things that I love about that is how much time your average counselor actually spends building that relationship, right? Like how engaged really good admission counselors are with the students in their territories. And you're right, like the moment the student withdraws or denies or whatever, that's it. Like it's all that work just disappears. And I love that you're thinking, no, it doesn't have to, right? Like, one, I wish them the best, but two, we all know how often students are switching schools, how they might realize that it isn't a great fit during that first semester. And who are they going to think of when they're having those doubts? They're going to think of the very nice person who sent them a nice little goodbye note, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so that was an opportunity I saw for us to leave the relationship well, right?
Yeah.
And keep those fond memories to move forward.
Okay, so let's talk about this video more specifically. Can you describe it, Sean? Can you describe it from beginning to end?
Yeah, so the video is set up in a very simple process. It is collecting the GIF that we created with the marketing team, opening a Canva account if you don't have one, and then being able to set a camera to situate everything else. So if you wanted music or some level of an audio to it, a brief script, adding and keeping all of those as assets to create said video. I kept it very simple. Just use the Canva mobile video template and then utilized or added the GIF, uploaded the GIF to it, wrote some nice words in there of thank you for letting us know you're withdrawing. We are saddened to see you go. I'm certain my English was not the best syntax. Right. And then that GIF just shows me smiling and into a frown. And so by the end of the frown in the GIF, it changes the slide over into a congrats and a more cheerier music and a congratulations to the institution that they're going to instead of us. And so it showcases a little bit more that, yes, you informed us not only of your withdrawal, but where you're going next. Yes, we have that benchmark and there's that table, but allows us to then showcase we are listening and good luck in the next piece. We're still rooting for you as you go on to your next move.
And there you have it, folks. Now that you've made it past May 1st, don't let your deposits go. Revamp your post-deposit email series, set up a two-way texting event about financials, and wish well to those who say no, and they might just change their answer to yes. That's our episode today. Thanks for listening. And as always, keep walking the walk and talking the tactics. Thanks for listening to Talking Tactics. This show is a proud member of the Enrollify network, home to higher ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow, so be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.